Alright guys, so I took a couple extra minutes and kind of masked out the rest of my shadows, kind of figured out where those things were going to go. And like I said, just kind of gives me a greater understanding of the structure, and is a little bit better guide for when I start putting my next layer on. But what I want to show you first, before I move on to painting, is a trick. So I have this all drawn on here now, and I like where this is compositionally. It is off center and sort of strangely balanced right now, but I want that weirdness in the painting. I want that kind of moving from light into more darkness. So the darkness over here I want to have a fairly heavy weight to it. So that is actually purposeful. But if you had this drawn and at the end of it you know, once you got everything in there, you just decided it wasn't quite in the right spot, and it seems like a lot of work to start over, because it is, and it's also kind of foolish to do that. What you can do is take a sheet of tracing paper, and I believe what I actually have here is parchment paper, but you can take a tracing paper or parchment paper or something that's a fairly see-through paper. And this would be a lot easier if this is on the ground. So you'd want to put this on a flat surface. But you can tape this on here and then draw the whole thing. Just trace over it with your paper. And then you'd want to erase this, but then you'd have your guide here. You flip, so you have your drawing on one side, you flip the paper on the other side. You hit this side with some charcoal powder, would be preferable. You can use vine charcoal too if you don't have charcoal powder. Hit that with some vine charcoal, then you put it back on, and you figure out exactly where you want to place it. And then you just start tracing your lines again. And when you trace your lines, it's going to put that charcoal onto the canvas. So if you've drawn this whole thing and you're like, oh gosh, I really wish it could move, down and to the left an inch or so, or just maybe to the left an inch or whatever. Slap some tracing paper on there, redraw it, erase this, move it, and you can also, to kind of give you an idea, you can mostly erase this without completely erasing it, so that you can see, how you are changing this. So you would have a very light original image here, and you'd have a much darker drawing, obviously, on the tracing paper, so you can see how much you are changing it from the original. But it's a great way to change your composition without having to really start over. What I can say is that if you continue with a composition that you're not certain that you like very much, or you think has some issues, but it seems like a lot of work to start over, if you don't start over and you don't change those things, then you're doing it wrong. Okay, you're never going to be satisfied with the piece ever, because you will always remember that you did not make that change, and that change will be crucially important to kind of not just your enjoyment and your satisfaction of the process, but also the quality of the piece. So if you have that nagging sensation where it's like, it's just not quite right, the size is right, but I want it to be moved somewhere, just take the time and redo it. You will breathe a sigh of relief after you have taken that time and actually done it. So, like I said, I'm pretty satisfied with where this is. The next layer is going to be the underpainting, and that's going to be brown and white, and I'll see you soon.